It's at this time also that we have Prussia, founded or partly made great by that incredible ruler, Frederick the Great, whom we have talked about in previous lectures and lessons. But Prussia at this time became known for its incredible military, for its precise drilling. They were seen as the premier soldiers, the premier military and land force in the world at the time. It's also at this time, for example, that Austria, that old Habsburg family, that whole Habsburg empire, also made further and further pushes in and towards the Adriatic Sea, into Italy, in places like Lombardy, for example, and also into the Balkans, throughout southeastern Europe. So it wasn't exactly as if Napoleon and the French were the only ones going after land. But Napoleon was an opportunist. Napoleon was somebody who was very able to capitalize on the chaos of the French Revolution and also able to capitalize on the various vying for position of these great powers. Ultimately, he was able to use force as his main ideology and ideal, his virtue, if you were. That's why Napoleon spent most of his career fighting on the battlefield, or at least leading an empire that was at war. It's also why, for example, you see Napoleon as being a character who's very unlike George Washington, by example, because Napoleon never had a desire to return to his home. He never had a desire to surrender his sword and his commission as being the leader of the French army. He actually preferred to be both the commander of the army without accountability and also the commander of France and ultimately Europe without accountability. It's also during this age of Napoleon that we see some truly modern wars. We see wars that are some of the most destructive yet. Destruction, of course, would be continued and carried on through things like the U.S. Civil War, and ultimately it would come to a climax in World War I and World War II as well. But it's during this time that we see a heavy use of things like conscription, where you forcibly draft people into the army. It's during the Napoleonic Wars we see things, for example, such as attrition, where you essentially try to have more guys than the other team, the other side that is, and you don't really care necessarily about protecting their lives. You just send them in charge after charge after charge, hoping that eventually you'll wear out the other guys. So even if you're losing your soldiers at the same rate as your opponent, your enemy, because you have more to begin with, you'll win. That's attrition. It really considers not the sanctity of human life.